Well, welcome back to another power station review with your host David, and I'm going to be going over the Zendure Superbase Pro 2000. This thing is a monster of a power station. I'm going to be going over the features, the specs. Most importantly, I'm going to be testing it with different appliances that I have camping and for the house, so stay tuned. And before we begin, a disclaimer, Zendure did send me this station and the little guy over there to test, to make a video to show you guys its features and all that. And I am going to be really honest, there is some cons with this power station which I'll be going over in the video. So let's go ahead and start with the specs. The Superbase Pro 2000 is a big boy. It's 46 pounds, pretty heavy, but it does have some really cool features. It's got wheels on it for easy transportation. You get a telescopic handle, really nice. And you do get a handle right here on top, which is spring-loaded, as you can see. It falls back. It's got a rubber piece here, so it's not too hard on your hands. Pretty nice. I like that it has wheels. It makes it easy going from the garage to the vehicle. You just got to pick it up. 46 pounds, easy to handle. Battery chemistry on this power station is a NMC battery, which a lot of other power stations use, even EV vehicles use. But it's not as good as some of the other battery chemistries that are in some of the other power stations. Like, I'm not sure, some of these do have it. I can't tell you right off the bat which one does, but some of the other ones use lithium iron phosphate batteries, which have better life cycles. Still good battery chemistry, but this is a 2096 watt hour battery. That's a lot of juice, but it has a 1500 life cycle to 80%. So you charge it, you use it 1500 times, you're gonna go down to 80% of the battery that you had. Compared to Zendure has another power station, a 1500 watt hour power station, very similar to this one. That one uses lithium iron phosphate batteries, and that one has life cycle of 3000 to 80%. So whenever you're shopping for a power station, make sure you look at what kind of battery chemistry it is. And there's a lot of really good YouTubers out on YouTube that have all the science regarding that. I'm not gonna go through all the electrical engineers talk because I'm not one of those. I'm a camping guy, so I'm just talking to you in that kind of experience. But this is a 2096 watt hour power station. This thing's huge. One of the really cool things about this power station is that you can go from 0 to 80% in just 1 hour. That's really fast charging for this size of power station. I know those are some of really fast numbers, kind of like the EcoFlow does. This one charges really quick, but again, you're talking about a really small battery. This is like a 700 watt, I believe, power station. This is really my go-to that I've been using a lot. Shout out to EcoFlow, pretty good. But 0 to 80 in this 2000 watt power station, that's pretty fast, and that's using their AC input that can bring in up to 1800 watts if you allow it. That's pretty cool. That's some fast charging right there. You could also charge it with two different inputs. You can use your AC, which plug into the wall, bring in 1800 watts, and you can also use solar panel input. Plug in, bring up to 600 watts with a combine of 2400 watts. It's a lot of juice to charge this up. I'll get it charged really quick. Let's go over what you also get with your power station. You get this really nice case from Zendure. You get to put all your cables inside. So obviously the first cable is your AC charging cable, which that's just a regular computer style cable that those cables that are very universal, which is really cool. Meaning that the power pack, there is no power pack, there's no power brick. It's built in to the power station, which is really cool. A lot of power stations have been doing that, like the EcoFlow here has that feature. The Anchor has that feature. I think from the power stations that are here, that's the only one that has that feature, which is really cool. It's built in, so you don't have to be carrying this brick of a power station. It's built in, and on top of that, it's a very universal cable, so you can find this cable at any store. So second cable you do get is MC4s, two MC4s, which those are the ones that plug into your solar panels, to XT60, which is a yellow plug. Some power stations use this connection. This one uses it, obviously, as Zendure, and I know that My EcoFlow uses that as well, that kind of connection. But the quirky connection that it also comes with, which I personally have never seen before, and I know that it's not very common, which this is a really cool feature on the power station, is MC force to AC. So this cable is used for more of the high-powered solar panels that maybe you have on your house. Some on the roof, or you made your own custom array in your backyard kind of thing. That's like some serious power, and that means that you can bring in solar energy up to 1800 watts of solar. So that means it's some heavy duty solar panels, and that's really cool. So imagine you have this, imagine if you have solar panels at home, or you have a solar array, you can plug those panels directly to this power station. That could technically power your fridge and other devices, which is insane. That means that you can connect that solar array up to 1800 watts with that AC connection, and then you could use the other solar connection up to 600 watts of 2400 watts in total of just solar. That's pretty cool, pretty cool. And the reason why you can do that is because Zendure has dual MPPTs on this. So there's two solar controllers that make that all possible, which is really cool. And the last two things, 2-year warranty from Zendure on this power station, and the price as of now, it's at $15.99 on their website. So let's go over the ports and the design of the power station, which there is some things that I have issues with. First of all, ABS plastic all around. The front here, there's a sticker on the front, and I'll show it to you guys. They're saying that they're using some recycled materials to make this front, and it has all these, if you notice, it's got like lines on the plastic, like making it a very like different design, because they're using who knows what recycled stuff, making every power station has a different design basically, which is cool if you're into that. I really don't care. I just want it to be tough, in my opinion. Like this Blackfire, this thing is rugged. I really like the design of this. This is really what I look for as a camping person. I'm gonna be throwing this in my car. If you're one of those people that wants this for your house in case of power failure, then cool. But that's subjective. I personally am not a big fan of the look of it, but okay, whatever. So we have our AC plugs on the side. We have 6 of them. We have our cigarette lighter on the side as well. We have 2 USB-C 100 watt. You have 2 USB-C 20 watt. So right now, as you can see, I'm using the 20 watt to charge my iPhone. The 100 watts would be good to charge like my MacBook Pro and all that. And then you have your barrel style connections there on the side, which when it comes to camping and all that, I never use those plugs. I don't really have many uses for that. But one thing that I do, 2 complaints about this power station, as a guy that does a lot of camping, cigarette lighter ports are very important for me. So only having one kind of stinks. The Anchor right here has 2, and they're about the same size. This is a more expensive power station, but this thing has 2, which is pretty cool. None of my other power stations have 2 cigarette lighter ports. So that's pretty cool. So I wish I had another one. And then 2, there is no USB-A, which is, I know we're moving to USB-C, and I get that, but we're still not there. And the fact that there's no USB-A ports is a really big letdown, because most of my camping gear, including these lights I'm using for lighting right now, that are plugged into the other Zendure that has USB-As, I can't plug those things into this. Zendure does give you just one little adapter, USB-A to USB-C, which I think that's a little lame. I mean, there's so much room there in the front. I don't understand why they didn't put USB-As. There's so much room there. So that's a big one. Is no USB-As. We're not there yet, and I don't think not putting any is a big letdown. And speaking of the little Zendure brother, which Zendure wanted me to go over, this one is a 600 watt hour power station with a sine wave AC output of 1000 watts and multiple output ports, as you can see. This is sort of the size of the power station that I'm used to using for my camping trips. I do love its size and lightness, coming in at 14 pounds. I do actually love the shape and design of it. It's very utilitarian with its handle on top, aluminum body, and I do have to say that I do love that screen on it. It even has a giant 10-watt LED light on one side, which turns this power station into a giant flashlight that can last up to a week. Let's talk about the quirky features on this power station. First of all, this is a new one for me. I haven't used a power station that has this feature. It has 4G connectivity. You can actually use their app as long as your cell phone has signal and this thing is connected to the 4G network, which it shows you on top. You could connect to it anywhere around the world. That's pretty cool. A lot of the other power stations that have apps, you have to just locally connect to them using their Bluetooth feature or Wi-Fi feature, which is another thing that I don't like about this power station, is that there is no Bluetooth. I have to connect to their Wi-Fi, to their local Wi-Fi to connect to it. So if you're at home, you need to connect to this, you need to connect off of your Wi-Fi at home, connect to this one. And it's kind of annoying. And I'm going to talk about the app because that's the most major letdown of this review. So no Bluetooth. It does have also built-in GPS, which is pretty cool. So if it gets stolen or something, you could contact Zendure and they will help you with that. They'll give you the coordinates. That's pretty cool. I did watch in some other YouTube videos from really good YouTubers out there reviewing the same power station that after a year of ownership, I think you have to buy a subscription to have the cell phone service, basically, which I couldn't find any information on the website. It wasn't on there, so very confusing. Another major thing about this power station that's really cool, that stands out from the rest, is that it's also a built-in UPS, which is an interruptible power supply. I work with a lot of computers and stuff out of school, and I deal with server rooms and all that. And server rooms, they need their power supply 24/7. So when you go into these closet rooms, they usually have it's called the UPS. It looks like this, it's small size, and you plug in your devices to it, and then this thing is plugged in, the UPS is plugged into the wall. So whenever the power goes out, this thing just turns on because it has a battery inside. It has like lead acid batteries in them. So this thing kicks on right away, like in milliseconds. So everything else still has power, never loses power. So this thing is the same thing. It's a giant UPS, which is cool. I can have this in my office, plug in my PC to it, plug this to the wall. If the power ever goes out, this thing in milliseconds, I think they put 13 milliseconds, it'll kick in so I don't lose power to my crucial equipment. That's pretty cool. The last quirky feature of the power station is that it has something called amp up, which some power stations have these kind of technologies. The EcoFlow has, I'll put the name down below, I forgot what it's called, but you turn on this feature on their app and it brings the power from 2000 watts to 3000 watts. You only want to use this feature for appliances that don't have microchips in them, like maybe like a saw or a dryer or something basic. And that's about it. I will talk about the app in a little bit because that's my major gripe with this power station. But yes, it does have amp up, which brings it to 3000 watts. Now let's get to the testing. And the first thing we're going to be testing is a house fridge. As you can see here, this is my fridge. If the power were to go out, can Zendure actually power my fridge? And by the looks, yes, it actually can power my fridge. I left the doors open to try to force the compressors to kick in to really show you the max power that the fridge will put on the Zendure. And this was right here, the peak of what I saw with the fridge, and then it would drop to 24 watts, which I thought that was a little low. That's very low, but I was trying to force the compressors to kick on. So you are going to have different levels of power when the compressors are kicking on and when the fridge is already pretty much cooled and it's just kicking on once in a while. It won't use that much power. Second test, we have a Nespresso machine coffee maker. Let's see how it does with the Zendure Superbase Pro 2000. You can see the watts go up and down. The peak, I believe, was about 1100. As you can see there, it goes up and down, up and down. And I like that it tells you how many hours you have left on the Zendure if it were to be constantly running at that power consumption, which is really nice, which most power stations will tell you. Third test is an air fryer. This is really a home appliance, but it would be nice to take while we go camping. We can throw anything in there to cook. Let's see how much power it uses. We're going to put the chips setting 400 degrees. And obviously this is going to be running constant power non-stop. It's not going to be going up and down like the other ones. It's going to need constant power. So let's see how it's running at that temperature. Not too bad. So if I were to run the air fryer, it would only last for 1.6 hours, which is really good. I mean, if I go on a trip and I use this maybe 10-15 minutes a day, that's not too bad. But it's not very smart to be taking such a big appliance. It takes up all this room. Now we have a 12-volt camping fridge. This is my go-to fridge, the Set Power. I really love this fridge. I have it plugged into the cigarette lighter. Let's see how much we're using. Okay, not bad. And as you can see in the testing, I left the door open to the fridge so the compressors kick in. So that's as much power as going to be using. 31.9 hours at 85%. Not too bad. All right, let's do a little other experiments here. We have a heat gun. I'm gonna put on the high setting. I'm gonna run it just constant. Let's see what we're pulling. 984, 982, 2.1 hours. It could run it on that constant power usage. Okay, now let's plug in a saw. You take this to the construction site. Maybe you need to do some work in the backyard. Too lazy to get that extension cord. Let's see how much a saw uses. I'm pulling the trigger all the way there. Let's see. Okay, not too bad. Not bad at all. So at constant, that's not too bad. Now for the last test, I'm going to be plugging some of my camera gear. This is the kind of stuff that I take on a camping trip, and I need to charge up my drone batteries, one of my B-roll cameras, which is a DJI camera you see there. Maybe I'm running my MacBook Pro. Maybe I got to plug in my iPhone. Let's see what it's pulling. $53 watts with all this. I mean, this is small stuff. This is very small stuff for the Zendure. Zendure can do this all day. It's not a problem. And the last part of the review on the Zendure Superbase Pro 2000 is the app, which was the biggest letdown of the power station. It's not the power station's fault though. So I have an iPhone and I downloaded their app. On the app you can do many...
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
I'm not talking to you. On the app, there's a lot of things that you can mess with on the settings. You can use their amp up feature. You can change the light color. I don't know if it's on right now. You have multiple things you could do with the lights. You could do a lot of settings. There's a lot of data that you can see on there. But I downloaded it. I tried to connect to this thing using its Wi-Fi, and I couldn't. It would come up, and they would fail. I was there, I would say for an hour trying to figure out. So much that I called the customer service, and I do IT stuff out of school, you know, basic IT stuff. So I know restart the device,
30 seconds,
restart this and that. Didn't fix it. I contacted Zendure, and for
3 seconds,
miraculously, they have some good customer service. They answered right away, and the girl tried to help me out. With no luck, she said, you know, we're gonna take your email. We're gonna email you back with the fix. I never got an email. So I did more research regarding the app, and I know there was other YouTubers that had the same issue. I'm not going to say many of them, but some did talk about them not working on their iPhone, but it worked on their Androids. Big letdown because most of us have iPhones, not Androids. And still, if you're going to have an app, make sure it works. Especially I don't get to use major functions like the amp up feature and all that. So it's a big letdown, and I did even go through their reviews on the App Store. People are actually talking about having the same issue as me. I'm not the only one. And I thought I was the only crazy one that had the issues. No, other people have had the issue on YouTube and even on the reviews. So Zendure, if you're watching this, please fix that. That's a big deal and is a big negative on the power station. So to conclude the review on the Zendure Superbase Pro 2000, I really like it. I think it's a really cool power station. For $1,600 though, that's a lot of money. I know for me that's a lot of money, and I'm sure for you that's a lot of money. That's an investment to have. This thing is a really cool tool when it comes to your house. This is really nice for camping and off-grid situations. This gives you a lot of power, and the fact that you could use big solar panels for this is huge. This is really cool. I really like this. The USB-A's situation, not having that stinks. I mean, you can figure something out. And cigarette lighter port, I can live with one. It's okay. But $1,600 though. I wish it had those. I wish it had the USB-A's. I wish it had a second cigarette lighter port. I wish the app worked. So, hope they fix that. But yeah, that's it for this review. If you have a Zendure Superbase Pro 2000 or even the little one, put your reviews down below. If you actually have it, tell everyone what you think about it. And yeah, thank you for watching, guys. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. That'd be big. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one.